She said, "Maybe we need a break." So I packed every one of her things by morning. She thought I'd beg, but I gave her exactly what she asked for. When my girlfriend Lauren looked at me across the kitchen table that Friday evening and said, "Maybe we need a break," something inside me went quiet. Not angry, not shocked, just still. For 3 years, we had built a life together. Shared mornings, shared bills, shared dreams. But lately, those dreams felt more like silent tests that I didn't remember signing up for. So when she said she needed space, I didn't argue. I simply replied, "I understand. I'll have your things packed by morning." She blinked, waiting for me to say more, maybe to plead or to ask why. But I didn't, because the truth was, I was just tired. Bone-deep tired of feeling like I had to prove my love every week through some new emotional experiment. Lauren and I had been together for 3 years, living together for the last 18 months in a cozy apartment in Austin. I'm 32, a senior financial analyst who values stability, structure, and clear communication. Lauren, 29, taught high school art. She had this vibrant, expressive energy, the kind of person who could make a rainy day feel like a canvas waiting for color. But she also had a habit of testing people, of pushing emotional boundaries to see who would stay and who would leave. At first, it seemed harmless. She'd post something vague on social media like, "feeling single," after a small argument, then laugh when I asked about it. Or she'd mention that an ex had texted her by accident, watching my reaction closely like she was measuring my jealousy with a scale only she understood. Once, she even said she wanted to take a solo vacation, just to see how much you'd trust me. Every time I responded the same way. "Lauren, I don't do tests. If you want honesty, just ask me." She'd laugh, kiss my cheek, say I was too serious, and then everything would go back to normal. But over time, those tests became the foundation of our relationship. I was constantly wondering what new game I was supposed to play just to prove that I cared enough. So that night, when I read her text, "Been thinking, maybe we need a break. I need space." My heart didn't break. It just exhaled. I read it twice, closed my laptop full of quarterly reports, and stood up. For once, I was going to take her words at face value. If she needed space, she'd have it. I spent the next several hours methodically packing her belongings. And if you've ever lived with someone for over a year, you know their presence is everywhere. Her handmade ceramic mugs from pottery class. The yoga mat permanently rolled up in the bedroom corner. The essential oil diffusers that filled every room because she said they helped her creativity flow. The dozens of decorative throw pillows that multiplied like rabbits on the couch. I packed it all carefully, box by box. One for art supplies, another for bathroom products, the skincare routine that took up half the counter space. One for clothes, one for books. Every box labeled neatly living room, bedroom, kitchen. I wasn't angry. I was just done. By 2 in the morning, 17 boxes sat in a perfect line by the front door. I sent her a text. "Your belongings are on the porch. Please collect them by noon. After that, donation pickup is scheduled." I put my phone down and felt a strange calm wash over me. That calm lasted all of 10 minutes before my phone started ringing. Lauren's voice came through the speaker, shaky and angry. "Ryan, what are you doing? I didn't mean it like that. You said you needed space." I replied evenly. "I'm giving you space. It was a test. I wanted to see if you'd fight for me." I let out a slow breath. I don't fight for people who threaten to leave, Lauren. I listen to what they say. There was silence on the line for a moment. Then she whispered, "You're being cruel." "I'm being honest," I said simply. "You asked for space. I'm respecting that." She hung up, and for the first time in months, I slept peacefully. The next morning, I woke to pounding on the front door. Lauren was outside crying, her car idling by the curb, boxes stacked beside it. Through the door, I could hear her mother on speakerphone. "Lauren, you told him you needed space," her mother said calmly. "You can't blame him for listening." "But I didn't mean it," Lauren sobbed. "Then why did you say it?" I stayed silent, watching from my bedroom window as she loaded each box into her car. My neighbor, Pastor Joe, was in his garden across the street. He caught my eye and gave me a slow nod. Later, he'd say, "Sometimes peace costs a storm." The apartment felt different immediately. Not empty, just still. For the first time in months, I could breathe without wondering what mood I'd be coming home to. I know some people might think I was cold, but the truth is, I was done loving someone who treated love like a science project. I thought that was the end of it. But of course, it wasn't. Within a week, Lauren started posting tearful selfies on social media. Captions like, "When someone gives up on you without a fight," and "Some people run at the first sign of difficulty." Mutual friends began messaging me asking what happened. I stayed silent. The truth would speak for itself eventually. 2 weeks later, she called my office pretending to be from my bank, asking about urgent account issues. Our HR department flagged it immediately as fraud. I had to sit in a meeting and explain everything to my manager. They were sympathetic, thankfully, but the embarrassment was real. That same week, she texted me, "I might be pregnant." My response was calm. "If that's true, we'll confirm it medically and handle it legally." 3 days later, she posted on Instagram, "False alarms teach you who really cares." I was done playing these games. Then came Daniel, a college friend of hers. Suddenly, he was all over her social media, posing at bars near my office, posting captions like, "Real men fight for what they want." One morning, as I grabbed coffee downstairs, he approached me. "Hey, you're Ryan, right? I'm Daniel, Lauren's friend. She's really hurt. Maybe you could just talk to her." I pulled out my laptop and showed him screenshots, her breakup text, the fake bank call report, the doorbell camera footage of her car parked outside my apartment for hours. Daniel's face went pale. "She told me you were emotionally abusive," he whispered. "She told me I was the one thing she couldn't control," I replied quietly. "Which one of us do you think is telling the truth?" He apologized and left. 2 days later, Lauren posted, "You can't trust anyone, especially men who pretend to be kind." But that wasn't the end either. A month later, HR called me again. This time about a formal complaint from Lauren claiming I emotionally tormented her. She'd submitted screenshots of our texts as evidence. But they only proved that I'd respected her wishes to end things. My manager closed the case that same day and issued Lauren a warning for false allegations. Then things got truly bizarre. Lauren started a podcast called Healing from Emotional Manipulation. The first episode was about me. She called me a covert narcissist, claimed that packing her things was psychological warfare. For a while, she gained sympathy online. People commented about how brave she was, until someone leaked screenshots. Not from me. I never shared anything publicly. But from Daniel. The same screenshots of her saying it was a test, of her fake pregnancy claim. The internet turned fast. People began calling out her inconsistencies. Even her school district told her to remove references to her job. That's when my lawyer got involved. Megan, a coworker, introduced me to her sister, a family law attorney. She reviewed everything. The fake call, the harassment, the podcast, the doorbell footage. Her verdict was simple. This isn't a breakup. It's stalking. We went to court. Judge Patterson, a stern man with no patience for drama, read her original text aloud. "Maybe we need a break." Then he looked over his glasses. "Miss Hayes, did you send this?" "Yes, but I didn't mean it." "Then why did you send it?" "I wanted to see if he cared enough to fight for me." He sighed. "That's not love. That's manipulation. The court doesn't issue restraining orders to protect manipulation." He granted the order 6 months. No contact, 500 feet from my home and workplace. As we left the courtroom, her mother looked at her and said softly, "I told you this would happen." After that, everything went quiet. Her podcast stopped. Her social media went dark. Daniel posted something about learning to spot red flags. I suspect that one wasn't about me. I moved to Georgetown, about 30 minutes away, bought a small house with a backyard. I started therapy, adopted a golden retriever named Scout, and reconnected with friends I'd drifted from. The peace was strange at first, almost too quiet. But slowly, I began to realize how much emotional energy I'd been pouring into someone who only wanted proof of love, not love itself. A year later, I was scrolling Reddit when I saw a post trending on True Off My Chest. The title read, "I lost a good man because I wanted to test him." I knew that writing style instantly. It was Lauren. She admitted everything. The tests, the lies, the manipulation, even the court case. She wrote that she'd been terrified of abandonment and tried to control it by creating scenarios where she could predict the outcome. She said she finally understood that I wasn't cruel. I was respectful. I didn't comment. I didn't reach out. That chapter was closed. I just stepped onto my patio as the sun set over Georgetown, Scout resting at my feet. The air was quiet except for the sound of crickets and the rustle of leaves. Pastor Joe's words echoed in my head again. Sometimes peace costs a storm. And he was right. The storm was over, and what remained was the kind of stillness I'd been craving for years. A home that felt safe. A life without tests. A heart finally at rest. When someone threatens to leave you, let them. Because the ones who want to stay don't make you prove it. Like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories of strength, healing, and finding peace after the storm.